The villagers of Bumba prepared a grand feast to celebrate Zuria's bravery and the return of River. Women pounded yam, roasted fish, cooked a delicious pot of rice. The men brought drums and flutes, while the children decorated the village square with a colorful flowers and a palm leaf. That evening, under the light of a full moon, the villagers danced and sang songs of victory. Zoria sat behind her mother, her heart full of joy, but she looked at the flowing river. She couldn't help but wonder, was Ndako truly gone, or would danger return one day? That night, Zuria had a dream. She stood in a vast savannah, surrounded by animals like crocodiles and all the dangerous animals. They are all bowed for her, and a deep voice said, "Your journey is not over, Zoria. The land needs you more." When she woke, she knew her task was far. Sneer knew her task was far from finished. There were other dangers, other spirits, and other villages that might need her help. A week later, a strange arrival in Mba village. He was an old man with a staff carved from ebony and a bag of slung over her shoulder. His name was Gimba, and he brought a terrible news. There is a village in the east, he said. Their river has turned black, and their crops are dying. They say a shadow figure has been haunting their land. The villagers murmured in fear, but Zuria stepped forward. "I will go and help them," she declared. Zuria prepared for her journey to the village of Nasiru. Eda Kofi gave her a charm made of cowries and shell for protection, and her mother packed a small bundle of food for her to eat on her way. As she walked through the savannah, she encountered many challenges: a swarm of bite flies, and a sudden storm, and a pack of wild animals. But Zuria's determination never wavered. When Zuria arrived in Nzoro village, she found the villagers in despair. Their crops were dying, and the river was thick with a foul smell and a black liquid. At night, they spoke of a showering figure that roamed around the village and cursing them in the land. Zuria met with the village chief, Mamaleya, who told her the shadow is a spirit called Novoa. It fed on fear and anger. We have tried to fight it, but we are too weak. Determined to help, Zoria found the Zoria followed the Back River upstream to its source. There she found a dark cave inside. She saw the shadow figure of Novo. His eyes was growing like a star. "You cannot defeat me," Novo hissed, a voice echoing like a thunder. "I am born of an anger in a man's heart." Immediately, Zoria remembered what the spirit of the river had taught her, that hope and wisdom could overcome even in greatest darkness. She spoke to Novo, her voice steadied. "You drive in anger," she said, "but anger cannot grow where there is a forgiveness." With those words, she poured the last of her secret water into the black river. The water sparkled, washing away the darkness and cleaning the land. The people of Inzoro's village rejoiced as their river turned clear and the crops began to grow again. Mama Leah gave Zoria a golden bracelet as a token of gratitude. "May this remind you of the light you brought to the world," she said. As Zoria returned back to her village, she noticed strange signs along the way: trees with black leaves, animal tracks that disappeared into a thin air, and a whisper in the wind. She realizes that her journey was far from over. Back in Umbuba, Elder Kofi advised Zuria to seek out Nia, a wise woman who lived in the hill beyond the savannah. Nia was said to know the secret of the spirit and could guide Zuria on the next journey. The journey to the hill was long and difficult. Zuria climbing steep patches, crossing the roaring river, and a brave cold night. But she finally reached Nia's haunt, a small home surrounded by herbs and flowers. Nia welcomed Zuria and listened to her stories. After a moment of silence, she said, "There is a greater darkness rising that will threaten not you, but your entire village, but the entire savannah. You must prepare, child. You must prepare. For the journey ahead of you will test you like you never see before. You must prepare. You must prepare, my child. She handed Zuria a punch filled with an enchanting seed. Plant this in time of great need. They will grow into what you required most. As Zuria returned to Mbuba village, she saw storm clouds gathering on the horizon. The air was heavy with a stillness, and she knew the time to act has drawn near. She returned with a heavy heart. She called a meeting immediately in the village square, asking Baba Tanuko to gather elders from neighboring villages. The darkness doesn't only threaten Buba, she said. If we don't stand together, none of us will survive. The village elders was skeptical at first, but began to see Zuria's wisdom over time. They agreed to unite their strength, resource, and courage. Under Zuria's guidance, the villagers prepared for the coming battle. They sharpened wore protective garments from enchanted leaf and trained even the youngest among them to help them to supply the healings. Zuria, meanwhile, consulted Eda Kofi and the golden bracelet gifted to her by Mama Leah. She felt a deep sense of responsibility as a growing fear. What if she fails? Zoria asked herself. One night, as the villagers slept, a strange creature emerged from the forest. They were shadows with glowing eyes and a clawing hands. Zoria and the warriors fought bravely, driving the creatures back within the fire and enchantment of protections. Though victorious, they knew this was just the beginning. Zoria woke from a vivid dream where she saw the source of the growing evil, a dark entity called Gaza, who dwelled in heart of the mountain of Echo. Gaza was ancient, feeding on fear and despair, and spreading across the land and in the village. Nazia's word echoed in Zuria's mind. The journey ahead will take you like never before. Determined to face Gaza, Zuria sought the guidance of the Spirit Council as Zuria had advised. The council lived in a secret grooving at the edge of the world, where the tree whispered secrets and the time moved differently. The journey to the grove was problematic. Zuria crossed rivers, them with crocodiles, climbing the cliff covered in a slippery moss and endured biting winds. At the entrance of the scaring cave, Zoria encountered different guardians, a leopard, an eagle, and a tortoise. Each posed a challenge she had to solve to prove her worth before she could pass. The leopard determined courage, the eagle tested her wisdom, and the tortoise required patience. Zoria passed all their tests and was allowed to enter the grove. The spirit council appeared as a growing figure, each radiating a warmth and a light. They told Zuria of a Gaza's origin and the way to defeat it. You cannot destroy Gaza by force, said one. You must plant seed of hope in the heart of others. Only unity and love will banish the darkness. They gave her three enchanting items: a mirror that revealed the truth, a horn that summoned alliance, and a cock that shed her from evil. Zoria returned to Mbumba, her village, weary but determined. She called other meetings with the village elders and shared what she had learnt. Our weapons alone won't save us, she said. We must fight. We must fight with hope, courage, and unity. Naria began planting the enchanting seed Nia had given her. Each seed grew into something the villagers needed: a shelter, a healing herbs, a source of light. The seed became a symbol of hope, inspiring the villagers to keep fighting. One evening, the wind carried a chilling message from Gaza. Your efforts are in vain. Despair. Your efforts are in vain. We will consume you all. The villagers grew in fear, but Zeruiah stood tall. We will not be afraid, she said. Fear is Gaza's weapon, but we still fight with hope. The time has come to march towards the mountain of Echo. The villagers from across the horizon joined Zuriya, forming a great ally. They carried torches, drums, and enchanting of protection as they lead the road. Unity shining like a beacon in the night. The journey to the mountain was horrible. The army faced many trials, swamp filled with snakes, storms that threatened to scatter them, and troubles that meant to sow their doubts. But Zuria's leadership and enchanted items from the spirit council kept them moving forward. As they neared the mountain, Gaza unleashed its most fearful creature, the shadow beast that can penetrate into someone's body. Zoria used the mirror from the spirit council to reveal the beast's true form, allowing the villagers to defeat him. Army reached the base of the mountain Echo, where Gaza's dark energy was stronger. The air was heavy, and the ground trembled with each step. Zuriya knew the final battle was near. Zuriya led the small group of warriors up in the mountain, while the rest of the army guide was at the base. Climbing was so hard, but they did. At the point, Zuriya slipped, but the golden bracelet from Mama Leia glued, steadying her feet. She realizes that the strength of others was with her. At the mountain peak, Zuriya faced Gaza, a towering figure of darkness with eyes like a burning light. Its voice shook the earth as it laughed. You think you can defeat me? Gaza snarled. I am the internal. Zuriya blew the horn, summoning the villagers below. Their voices rose in enchantment, their light pushing back the darkness. Gaza rolled. Its form began to crumble. Gaza laughed at Zuriya, but she threw the enchantment seed into the air. They burst into golden wine, wrapping around the spirit and binding it together. You will not control us, Zuriya shouted. Immediately Gaza dissolved into a thin air, the sky cleared. The first array of dawn lit the savannah again. The mountain trembled, then grew still. The villagers cheered the victory, the unity stronger than ever as they chant. The journey back to Umba village was one of the celebrations. Along the way, Zoreya planted the last of her enchanted seed, leaving behind trees and flowers as a symbol of hope. Back in Umba village, the river flowed stronger than ever. The villagers rejoiced, their heart full of gratitude for Zuriya's bravery. Zuriya visited Nia to thank her for the enchanting seed. Naria smiled and said, the seed were only a tool. The true power was within you all along. The spirit council appeared to Zuriya one final time. They named her the guardian of the savannah, a protector of balance of unity. Years later, Zuriya's story became a legend told by elders under the bamboo tree. Children listened in a silent way, inspired by their courage and wisdom. Zuriya grew into a wise leader, guiding not just the bamboo village but all the villagers of Savannah. Her name became a symbol of hope, proving that even the smallest person could make the biggest difference. And so the savannah flourished, its river flowing, the people united, all thanks to the brave girl who served the village. Thanks for watching. Like and share. Thank you.